Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you're doing great. The update pushes the classic back into a sharper, smoother state. Up to 60 frames per second and ultra visual settings on current consoles, improved asset quality, and higher output resolutions can make wandering through Sasau and Rate feel noticeably crisper, especially if you're coming from an older console build or a lower-end PC setting from Xi'an's. This is an official upgrade from the publisher and developer, and the way it's been framed is as a free enhancement for people who already own the game on the supported platforms. So you're not paying extra to get that smoother frame pacing and visual bump. Beyond the graphical side, the update is pretty focused on fixing long-standing technical problems that have annoyed players for years. The studio specifically addressed a number of crashes and loading issues, including fixes that target the Baptism of Fire quest where crashes could interrupt your progress, and they've been cleaning up memory leaks and problems with the textured garbage collector that could lead to instability over longer play sessions. There were also fixes aimed at deadlock issues in physics synchronization that could cause stuttering or freeze frames during certain encounters or scripted sequences. All of those fixes are the kind of low-level, under-the-hood work that doesn't headline flashy trailers, but absolutely changes the play experience, especially if you've ever lost progress or seen the game hiccup during an important moment. On the cosmetics and account front, the update introduces Deep Silver account integration. Link your account and you'll receive a special horse caparison to deck out your steed. Which is a neat little bonus for people who like to collect and show off vanity items in their stash. That integration is also being used as a lightweight tie between the game and the publisher's ecosystem, and the comparison is available pretty much right after you finish the prologue as long as your account is connected. It's a small reward, but it's also the sort of thing that encourages players to re-engage with the original title if they're curious about the next-gen presentation. A few specific fixes that might matter to streamers, content creators, or anyone who's been stuck on certain quest beats were explicitly called out. Fixed multiple crashes during the Baptism of Fire quest, resolved memory leaks and texture garbage collector crashes, fixed deadlock issues in physics synchronization, and corrected quilted vest glitches that made Henry's arms transparent. Black-in, these read like the checklist of annoyances the community has been cataloging for years. Missing subtitles, map cursor scaling, language font issues, and occasional infinite loading during a siege were also addressed. And while they're not glamorous, they're precisely the reasons the update feels meaningful to longtime players who saw those problems crop up repeatedly. For players on consoles, the visual and performance changes are the headliner. The game now supports ultra-quality visuals comparable to higher PC presets, offers higher internal resolutions with upscale to 4K output on certain systems, and targets a 60 FPS experience where possible. That combination is what people expect from a modernized release, and it's particularly noticeable in open spaces and during traversal where frame drops used to be more obvious. On PC, the patch is more about stability and the account integration, but you'll still benefit from the various bug fixes and quality of life tweaks that come with the update. It's worth mentioning that this patch marks a return to active maintenance for the original game after a pretty long silence in terms of big updates, and that context matters. Warhorse Studios and the publisher have taken the approach of giving the first game's visuals and reliability a refresh as the franchise continues with its sequel and other projects. For people who've been waiting for the original to feel a bit more polished on modern hardware, this update is clearly intended to deliver that reassurance. Coverage across outlets highlights both the technical fixes and the next-gen uplift. So it's not just a tiny housekeeping release, it's a combination of stability engineering and presentation upgrades that together make replaying Henry's first chapter more pleasant. Now, for anyone who's curious about the kinds of in-game quirks that were fixed, a handful of UI issues were addressed too. Things like placeholder or missing text being corrected, subtitle mismatches and cinematics fixed, Japanese language font problems resolved, the settings menu no longer popping up momentarily when changing languages, and compass markers or map cursor scaling behaving correctly after an in-game resolution change. These are the kinds of polished items that help prevent immersion breaks. And when combined with core stability fixes, they end up creating a smoother narrative and gameplay rhythm across long play sessions. Overall, the release feels intentional. The studio leaned into making the original look and run better for modern systems, cleaned up a grab bag of nagging technical issues, and added a small account reward to sweeten linking up with their ecosystem. Whether you're revisiting the game to appreciate the improved visuals, or you're returning to finally finish quests that used to crash under certain conditions, this update is a meaningful step toward a less bumpy experience.